Welcome back to another video. Today we'll be talking about video resolution for YouTube videos. Should you go with 1080p or 4K, and is there even a difference to be noticed? So I'm gonna try and answer these questions today because there's always this thing in my mind, why do we shoot 4K? Why not just full HD? Nobody notices it because everybody's watching YouTube on smartphones. So therefore, why bother? So first, a little bit of a backstory. When YouTube started, HD resolution was considered to be the high end. Remember the 720p video resolution, which was so much better than the 640 or 460 but then full HD came along, so 1080p resolution. This just blew the 720 away straight out of the window, and everybody was going for that 1080p. But now in 2024, 4K is becoming the norm. So everybody's recording in 4K, everybody's uploading in 4K, and when you see a 1080p video, well, can you actually notice the difference? So currently I'm recording in 1080p, but I'll be uploading this video upscaled in a 4K resolution. So my video timeline is 4K, but I'm going to record these clips with different resolutions, so 1080p and 4K. And here we have now a 4K resolution from an action camera. I'll be switching the two in just a second, and well, you guys can tell if there's any difference. So there we go, I've switched things around. This is now recording in 4K and this is recording in 1080p. Now, to be completely honest, I know that my full frame Sony A7IV does a very good job at recording 1080p videos. They look really amazing, but how does that look on an action camera? Here I'm using the DJI Osmo Action 4, and well, I mean, for action cameras I always go with 4K. Even the drone shots that you will be seeing throughout the video are all 4K resolution because you want to capture that fine detail on the ground. Let's talk about the reason why everybody is uploading their videos in 4K onto YouTube. Well, it goes like this. If you have a 2.7K video or above, YouTube is going to give you the VP9 video codec, which is much better than the AVC1 that you get with 1080p and lower resolutions. Now keep in mind, if you're recording 1080p with 60 frames per second, then you get the VP9 as well. But why is that so important? Well, if you consider how many videos are being uploaded daily, you have to consider also how much storage is needed to store those videos somewhere on a server. So if I upload a video which is like 1 or 2 gigabytes in size, well, then YouTube is going to take my compressed video and compress it even more with either the AVC1 or the VP9 codec, which makes it really tiny, but it still looks okay. Well, at least in the VP9 case, because VP9 is a very efficient and high quality streaming video codec. Now that's really important. It's a streaming video codec because these videos are being streamed over the internet, and well, you want to transfer the least amount of data and get the best video possible. Now, when YouTube started getting really popular and people uploaded it more and more, the resolution then also had to follow the trend, and standard resolution or HD resolution was just not good enough, so they had to switch to that 1080p. So if you have a small channel that doesn't get a lot of views, then the AVC1 codec is going to be applied because it compresses the video even more. Now, if you have a bigger channel and you get a lot of views, then even if you upload in 1080p, YouTube is going to give you the VP9 codec. And it kind of seemed unfair, especially for smaller channels like we have. I mean, I'm guessing you guys have a smaller channel if you're watching this video. If not, well, anyway, consider subscribing and hit the like button. Thank you. So this is where the idea of upscaling a video to 4K or at least 2.7K kind of comes into play, because then you always get the VP9 codec and you have the same level of quality as the bigger YouTube channels, regardless of how many views you get. But that kind of takes a toll on the whole video creation process. I actually wanted to land my drone manually on gravel, and that's never a good idea because the drone toppled over and I pretty much busted all 4 propellers. So no more drone shots until I get a set of new propellers. Now, in some cases, you are limited to that 1080p video resolution. For instance, if you're recording slow motion video and you want to shoot with 100 or 120 frames per second, well, then there's not a lot of mid-range or lower end cameras that can actually record a 4K video in such a fast frame rate. But in 1080p, almost every camera now can shoot 100 or 120 frames per second, or just 50 or 60. No, but that is a limiting factor in some occasions. I am like so bad at coffee montages. Now when it comes to slow motion videos, it really depends on how good your camera is. I have a Sony A7IV, so the bitrate when I'm recording slow motion is actually quite high, so I do get a good video out of this. But if you have a mid-range or like a low-end camera, then those slow motion shots and lower resolution are really going to show. But you are typically locked with a 1080p video, and it does show in a 4K output. One thing that I hear very often about 4K videos on YouTube is that you're kind of future-proofing your video quality for the next generations. I mean, if you ever see any of those really old videos on YouTube, they look really old because the resolution is probably just 720p, so HD as it was the norm back then. But honestly, the difference between 1080p and 4K is not that big as it was with 720p and 1080p. So I don't think that 4K video on YouTube is kind of future-proof. I mean, I don't know when we're going to start seeing 6K or 8K videos to become, the next norm. I think 4K is way overkill for a YouTube video, and 1080p is just so much easier to work with. So I keep going back and forth with this resolution thing. Every time I go with 1080p, I think that I'm missing out on the potential quality, but then I have to remind myself that this is just for YouTube. So you see, it's always this battle between 4K, 1080p, and I know it's stupid, and yeah. Sometimes I come up here to think, and typically when I start thinking things, well, things start to get rolling. The biggest question for me is, why am I recording 4K if I could just do a full HD video? I mean, this looks nice on a nice camera like this. Now, if you have a smaller sensor camera, it's quite important to have a high resolution video recording in order to retain the sharpness. But here, I mean, come on, it's like a full frame sensor, the Sony A7IV, which pretty much is the ultimate camera that you would want for these types of videos. I'm not bragging, but I'm just saying that it's like 1080p is just good enough, and this now is 1080p, so